Good rising, brethren. This is Big Judah coming to you guys in California. Before I begin, give all praise to Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. I pray the Most High blesses this lesson this evening, gives more knowledge and understanding of the events of the past, in order to understand events that are currently happening on the earth, so we get a much better understanding of the things that are soon to come on the earth. We're going to be getting some great information and some great confirmation of who we are, what times we are in, and it's going to be expanding our knowledge and understanding even of the scriptures. Our information has been locked away tight in many different books, crossing many different expanses of time and space and subject matter. And we're going to bring some great information this evening. We're going to expand so that you can understand prophecy. You're going to understand that our weapons are not carnal. Our weaponry is spiritual. And as you can see, what you're going to see is, as we keep bringing out more knowledge, the other nations who are pretty much nothing but carnal nations who deal in carnality, you're going to see their destruction. We are the star seeds. We are the ones that are dealing with the spirit world. Just like when the Most High makes decrees in the spirit world, those decrees are fulfilled here in the carnal world. And what we're doing is fulfilling prophecy, and you're going to see it today. You're going to see why history has been hidden. You're going to see why they've hidden all the God knows how millions of years of history that did not concern these Gentiles. And since they know that they did not have anything to do with it, they've gone out of their way to hide it. They've gone out of their way to hide who was here. They're going out of their way to hide who these scriptures and these, all these tablets are referring to. That's why you can't come to the end, can't read the end or of my book and then just implement yourself all in it and act like it's talking about you. It doesn't work like that. That's why all your prophecies are falling apart. That's why there's all these multiple distractions. Because the more that, people are awakened, the star seeds are awakened, the easier it is for us to see the folly of the other nations. We're going to get into this book first right here. They just put these covers on them, and then they just, these covers on the books, and then they give them these titles, and then, that's the devil's book. Stay out of those books. Get out of that information. The Secret Doctrine. The Synthesis of Science, Religion, and Philosophy by H.P. Blavatsky. Okay, we're going to look at volume 2 right now. We're going to take a look here. Started here on page 744. Okay, this is all the Most High. The Most High put these pages together. Put this information together. That here a little, there a little applies to all of these books. And it's just the Most High guides me to this information and then connects it with this other information. And I had already read this morning. But then I just received, as you're going to see, Voyagers, Volume 1, maybe an hour ago. And the Most High just led me to a couple of pages that connect to this information. And then I just kind of opened it up and found some more information that connects to that information. This is all the Most High. Shows you the times that we are in. You're going to get a lot of understanding. And this is why this is why the Gentiles are going to say that their fathers have inherited lies, because they do not have the Spirit. Check this out here, that paragraph right there. Did not the Spaniards and the Cibolo expeditions meet with white savage chiefs? And has not the presence of African Negro types in Europe and the prehistoric ages been now ascertained? Like I said, we were already over there. We were the original, as you call, Britons, and we were the original Irish. We were the ones that were already there. And in these books that they demonize, they just confirm this information. This is why when people make these comments, oh, I've never heard of a black Irish. I've never heard of black British. Yeah, because they have them in books like this. And why don't you go and take a look and see how expensive these books are? You're going to see why you've never heard of this information, because they put it in these books, and these books are so expensive that the vast majority of our people are not going to be able to get their hands on them. But the Most High makes a way for us to get our hands on our information, for confirmation of information He's already released to us a long time ago. So again, and has not the presence of African Negro types in Europe in the prehistoric ages been now ascertained? They already know that we were there. It is this presence of a type associated with that of the Negro and also with that of the Mongolian. And we already saw from the video about the karate video that we shared in the community section that connected so-called black people with the Mongolians. That's why you got to really get out of looking at what you see today and thinking that those were the people that have been there the whole time. It's all just been part of the hijack. As Brother 432 the Drop always says, it's all part of the hijack, making you think that you were nowhere, that you've only been in Africa, while we've been everywhere, teaching everybody. Which is a stumbling block of anthropology. The individual who lived at an incalculably distant period at La Naulette in Belgium, okay, is an example. The caves on the banks of the Lys in southeastern Belgium, says this anthropologist, afford evidence of what is perhaps the lowest man, as shown by the Naulette jaw. Such man, however, had amulets of stone, perforated for the purpose of ornament. These are made as a Samite now found in the basin of the Gironde. And it's always make it sound like people in the past, were just these savages. But they're talking about how this guy right here had amulets of stone. They were already using amulets. God knows what else they already found that these people had that they haven't shown us. But they already knew about how the power of these amulets, the power of the chakras, they knew about the power of the stones. They knew about the power of all these things. They knew how to use them. They knew how to manipulate things. They knew how to use things that they call now magic. But the Gentiles can't let you know that the people, a long time ago had this knowledge, because they want to be the ones that were on top. They wanted to be the ones that were scientifically superior to everyone else. But facts are showing that to not be true. Thus, Belgian man was extremely ancient. That man who was antecedent to the great flood of waters, which covered the highlands of Belgium, with a deposit of lem, or upland gravel 30 meters above the level of the present rivers, must have combined the characters of the Turanian and the Negro. The Constant or La Naulette man may have been black. It had nothing to do with the Aryan type, whose remains are contemporary with those of the cave bear at Ingis. Here we go again. They're showing that the ancient ones may have been black. Like I said, they have to admit certain things, that they kind of have to admit it like it's a possibility. If they have a motivation, to hide this information, then you got to really take what they say with a grain of salt. They have a motivation to hide who was here before. Because you're going to see in the next section that I'm not going to get into that, but they're letting you know that these people that were here way before the flood, that have been here this whole time, that were using amulets and probably had all this advanced technology and advanced understanding, were so-called black people. That's why it has been so important for even the Aryan. We know that that's the angelic sons of Isaac, and that's not even talking about them anyways. We were the original Aryans, but they, like usual, have stolen our titles and put them on themselves. But that doesn't matter. We can see through all that. So again, the Kronstadt or La Noulette man may have been black and had nothing to do with the Aryan type, whose remains are contemporary with those of the cave bear at Engis. The denizens of the Aquatine bone caves belong to a far later period of history and may not be as ancient as the former. If the statement is objected to on the ground that science does not deny the presence of man on Earth from an enormous antiquity, though that antiquity cannot be determined. So just because they can't determine how long man has been here, therefore they're going to make it seem like there's no one been here before them. So if we can't, that's how they are. If we can't understand everything 100%, then we're just not going to accept it. If we can't break it down and understand it all 100%, then we're just not going to accept it. Hence, what they've done with all of our books. Oh, I can't figure this stuff out. This is way too hard for me, John. Well, you know what? Don't worry about trying to study and figure it out. We'll just say we don't accept it and nobody can read it. That's exactly what they've been doing. And a lot of this stuff is not for them to understand. It was never given to them. So therefore, if it was never given to them, they're not going to be able to understand it. And there's a lot of this information. Hey, if without the Spirit, I wouldn't understand it. I wouldn't be able to put this stuff together. And that goes for all of us. But the Spirit's the one that brings this information and gives it to certain ones in our nation to be able to understand this information. Just like all different topics. Most High will bless certain people with information and understanding for them to be able to share understanding with the nation. So let's continue here. If the statement is objected to on the ground that, to be as ancient as the former. If the statement is objected to on the ground that science does not deny the presence of man on Earth from an enormous antiquity, though that antiquity cannot be determined, since that presence is conditioned by the duration of geological periods, the age of which is not ascertained. It is argued that the scientists object most decidedly, to the claim that man preceded the animals, for instance, or that civilization dates from the earliest Eocene period, or again, that there have ever existed giants, three-eyed or four-armed or four-legged men, androgynous, etc. Then the objectors are asked in their turn, how do you know? What proof have you besides your personal hypothesis, each of which may be upset any day by new discoveries? And that's it. There's new discoveries that prove their hypotheses wrong all the time, but they never really tell you about that. They give you a hypothesis, just like the land bridge theory. They give you that hypothesis of the land bridge theory. They still teach it to our children, so teach it to our kids as if it's a fact. But then they have information that shows that there have been people that have already been over here in America way before that land bridge supposedly formed. So if they already know that there's been people here before the land bridge and they know that land bridge theory is wrong, why are you still teaching it? Because that's what they do. They're not going to admit that they're wrong. Okay? And that's with new information, and that's why they don't want new information. That's why you tell people, hey, prove to me the 80 books are the most high, approved 80 books, or most high approved 66 books. Show me that. Show me where I can't read the book of Enoch. Show me, any new information, and that's what you see a lot of these people is that they just don't accept any new information because they want to stay with the old status quo. And these future discoveries are sure to prove that Whatever the earlier type of man known to anthropologists was in complexion, he was in no respect a piche. Okay, I don't know what a piche means. Yeah, let me take a quick look and see if I can find out what a piche means. Of course, a piche, resembling or likened to an ape, foolish or silly. So, oh, nice. So let's read that again. And these future discoveries are sure to prove that whatever this earlier type of man, known to anthropologists, was in complexion, he was in no respect a piche. He was not resembling an ape. Okay. The constant man, the Angus man, alike possessed essentially human attributes. People have looked for the missing link at the wrong end of the chain, and the Neander Valley man has long since been dismissed to the limbo of all hasty blunders. Okay, we're gonna stop right there in this part and go to the next section. Maybe. Let's see if they're gonna let me switch. Hmm. Okay. All right. So this is page 430, same book. We're gonna skip on down now. Okay. We're gonna start with it says and the same question. Okay. Maybe put now that was put then. It may be once more asked, how does it happen that the most advanced standpoint that has been reached in our times only enables us to see in the dim distance up the alpine path of knowledge the monumental proofs that earlier explorers have left to mark the plateau they had reached and occupied? Pretty much showing that people now don't have the same knowledge that the people had in ancient times. Let's continue. If modern masters are so much in advance of the old ones, why do they not restore to us the lost arts of our post diluvian forefathers? Why do they not give us the unfading colors of Luxor, the Tyrian purple, the bright vermilion, and dazzling blue which decorate the walls of this place, and are as bright as on the first day of their application? The indestructible cement of the pyramids and of ancient aqueducts, the Damascus blade, which can be turned like a corkscrew in its scabbard without breaking, the gorgeous, unparalleled tints of the stained glass that is found amid the dust of old ruins and beams in the windows of ancient cathedrals, and a secret of the true malleable glass. And if chemistry is so little able to rival even the early medieval ages in some arts, why boast of achievements? Okay. Now, this is like letting you know, like there's all of these, great buildings, structures. Why can't you duplicate them now? If you're so advanced now, why is it that you can't duplicate the colors? You can't make the same things that were made before? Why can't you repeat these things? Because it's backwards. Everything is backwards. So when you're reading our scriptures and you're reading our information, it's not talking about you. It's talking about us. It's talking about the ones who were here, the star seeds. It's talking about the ones that were here already before. And that's why, like, now that we are watching prophecies being fulfilled, we have to move as we moved before. That's why you're seeing as the Most High restores us and gives us back our knowledge and understanding, and we start to apply this understanding, That's why you start to see the other nations falling apart. It has nothing to do with carnal weapons. To see with them, everything has to do with carnality. Everything has to do with their bug out bags. Everything has to do with, hey, get your money out of the bank. Everything has to do with, hey, buy gold and silver. That's God's money. Get your gold and silver. Get that ready. Oh, get your crypto. Get your Bitcoin. So that, you get ready to bug out so that when everything goes, when everything goes to hell, you'll be okay. But in a few months after everybody kills themselves off, you'll be able to emerge here in this carnal world back on top once again. Oh, they're going to drop nukes now. Oh, they're sending missiles here. Oh, they're blowing up this there. Because they're worried about the carnal world, the world that they can see. They're not concerned with the spirit world because the spirit world is not for them. Now we'll check out Voyagers right here, Volume 1. Okay, the sleeping abductees. Got a couple little sections here. Going to take a look here about blinded by scientific interpretation. See, this is how they've blinded us, by them giving us their science, and then you're not allowed to think for yourself. If you can't prove it the way that supposedly that they want it proved, then therefore whatever you say has no validity. This makes so much sense. But like I showed you before, and in the previous readings we just did, if your science is so great, how come you can't rebuild the structures from the past? How come you can't break down, the things of the past? How come instead of trying to break this information down, you hide it? Because this information is far beyond anything that you can understand. Blinded by scientific interpretation. Does scientific dogma distract us from other potentially valid reality interpretations? Now, this definitely does for our people, okay? We often fail to see other potentially valid perspectives regarding inhabited otherworld existence because of our contemporary acquiescence to the dictates of scientific expertise. Blinded by the shining accomplishments the sciences have achieved, we tend to overlook the larger body of subject matter that science has yet to comprehend. So we just ignore all the things they can explain. Okay? In Western culture especially, we have allowed the glamour of the scientific dynamic, with its nasty habit of negating the reality of anything it cannot yet define. And that's what they do. They just try to negate anything they can't define. They try to negate it. Okay? That they cannot define, dissect, reduce to mathematical computation, or place under a microscope, to create our belief paradigms for us. Too often we accept the assumptions of the scientific experts as fact. Exactly. Too often we accept the assumptions of the scientific experts as fact. And that's what they've conditioned us to do. Don't question them. Such and such has a PhD. You don't know, he knows. Such and such has this title. You don't know, he or she knows. All the while we have not let you go to school, have not let you go to college, kept you, kept you from studying and reading, and kept you into sports and all kinds of distractions or whatever else, so that we can be the ones on top, so that we can be the ones that tell you yay or nay for everything. So too often we accept the assumptions of the scientific expert as fact, even if those assumptions are incomplete or serve to negate our personal experience and understanding. Contemporary humans have allowed themselves to become conditioned to blindly accepting the hypothesis of the scientific community, when a scientific community itself only negates its previous assumptions with the discovery of new insights. In the world of science, the facts frequently change, yet the general public often accepts scientific fact as absolute truth. So that's so true. Again, in the world of science, the facts frequently change, yet the general public often accepts scientific fact as absolute truth. And that's it. These guys give you, they'll say it's a fact, then, the information on the ground changes, But the people don't even think about, hey, well, maybe I should reassess this information, reassess this understanding, and come up with a new hypothesis. People don't want that. They just want to be told. They want to be told that this is how it happened, and then that's as far as they want to go with it. But you're going to start to see the difference between star seeds and earth seeds very soon. You'll be able to see the ones that actually want to study and learn, and the ones that are content with just being told. And that even happens in this truth. You got people that say they want to follow the Most High and whatever else, and you tell them, hey, you got to study on your own. I don't want to study. You need to read on your own. I don't want to read. Hey, you need to kind of read the stuff and kind of come up with your own understanding and put these. No, I don't want to do. I want someone to do that for me. And I'm like, okay, well, that's nothing. That's the same as a church. So you can see that this mindset is pervasive in many different areas of our lives. We have placed our sciences on a pedestal, and in so doing, we have disempowered our own abilities to assess conditions of reality and to scrutinize the value of scientific hypotheses. As long as we place the reality, interpretations of the scientific machine above our ability to think for ourselves, we will remain blind to other possible interpretations of reality, which may have equal or superior value compared to the assumptions of the scientific majority. Science has its place within an evolving culture, but if it is allowed to become the ruler, dictator, and governing force of the private mind, the wisdom that comes to us by way of the soul may be extinguished. And that's so true. The Most High by be sending us information on the spirit role and from the spiritual level, send it to our soul. But we have been conditioned to reject that and only accept things from the scientific perspective, from the Gentile perspective. Scientific paradigms traditionally do not recognize the validity of the soul. Readers of a scientific persuasion may substitute in the above sentence the concept of the superconscious mind for the term soul, as the modern science of psychology is beginning to recognize this idea. In truth, the superconscious mind and the soul represent the same level of higher identity, and there are levels of identity that exist beyond this point. We have accepted the scientific assumption that ancient recorded accounts of otherworld contact represent the symbolic folly of a less developed primitive mind. And we know that that's not true. So when they talk about having contact with other worlds and otherworldly people, things like that, they try to explain it away as, oh, well, those people were backwards. They weren't, as advanced as we were, so they don't know what the hell they were talking about. But we know it's the exact opposite. They were way more advanced, probably because they were talking to other entities. Okay. And then now you got the opposite today. You got ones that are just people here now that just ignore everything that they can't seem to explain. Okay, so a developed primitive mind. And thus we discount the possible implications of those ancient records. Exactly. They just discount all these ancient records. Exactly. Just lock it up. It's too complicated. Put it away. John and I can't figure it out. So if we can't figure it out, then these guys ain't gonna be able to figure it out. So just lock it all away. That's exactly what they're saying. Even though we could get the records and we could understand it because we would get the spirit. The spirit would be sent to us in order to unlock the understanding. And they know this. That's why they don't just let you see it, because they know that you could probably figure it out, because it's not us figuring it out. It would be the spirit sent to us to open up our understanding. And they don't want us to figure that out. They want us to be dependent upon their scientists. Through this acquiescence of perspective to scientific dogma, we have lost touch with the possibilities of our creation and have become blind to the realities of which our ancient ancestors might once have been aware. Invalidation of the unseen worlds and denial of the evidence that supports their existence represents a specialized digression rather than an evolution of our conscious awareness. And that's exactly it. We have been digressing as far as a spiritual understanding. We have been regressing, digressing. but it's been on purpose, and it's been something that's been done by the other nations. So when the Most High talks about you're destroyed for a lack of knowledge, you have a lack of knowledge right here. This is that lack of knowledge right here. It's talking about lack of knowledge of spiritual things. We got a lack of knowledge of spiritual understanding. And now the Most High is working to give it back to us. And as you can see, as we grow in this spiritual knowledge, because our weapons are not carnal, they're spiritual, that's why our swords are now doing so much damage in the spirit world. Because the Most High is giving that back to us. So let me get there again. Through this acquiescence of perspective to scientific dogma, we have lost touch with the possibilities of our creation and have become blind to the realities of which our ancient ancestors might have been aware. Invalidation of the unseen worlds and denial of the evidence that supports their existence represents a specialized digression rather than an evolution of our conscious awareness. We have achieved simple scientific and technological prowess while sacrificing a greater cognition of ourselves, the cosmos, and the divine. Awareness of our ancient ancestors might very well have possessed. See that? That is huge. So that's going to be something you have to chew on for a while, because that's a lot of information right here. We have achieved simple scientific and technological prowess while sacrificing a greater cognition of ourselves, the cosmos, and the divine. Awareness of our ancient divine awareness our ancient ancestors might very well have possessed. Well, we know they possessed that. They had that, communication with the angels. They had the communication, right, with other entities. King Solomon had his ring. He was talking with spirits. But see, the other nations have made it a point to say, oh, that stuff's all fake. That stuff's not true. We can't prove it. We can't prove it, so therefore it's not true. It didn't happen. Well, it didn't happen to you. That's why you can't prove it, because it had nothing to do with you. But these kinds of things happen to our people all the time. So a truth for you might not be a truth for us. That's why they push the whole Catholic doctrine and we're all the same. We're not all the same. Some of us are much more spiritual, have a much better connection with the spirit world, and some do not. And that's what's going to be talked about right now. Same book, Voyagers, Volume 1. Earth seeds and star seeds. I want to say this is on page 86. Okay. Earth seeds and star seeds. Page 86. Okay. This is prophecy that's going on right now. These are the prophecies that are going on right now. And this is this is why we're Book of Revelation revealing. Most High is revealing the difference between these earth seeds and star seeds. This is why the other nations, they are earth seeds. They do not understand spiritual things. They do not understand our scriptures. They don't understand our, information. So when they're trying to break it down and explain it to you, that's why they're always wrong. That's why they're so reactionary. Putin's doing this, NATO's doing that, Israelis doing this, Iran's doing that, China's doing this, South Korea's doing that, North Korea's going to do this, then nothing happens. Because they're earth seeds. They're trying to force these actions into prophecy, and they have nothing to do with prophecy. Check this out. Earth seeds and star seeds. The mavericks among you, the pioneers, will lead the way in your awakening to awareness and empowerment. They will lead your species to the discovery and fulfillment of its genetic plan. They are the silent leaders of your time. the speakers sent to you by the ancient ones, through whom the knowledge of the original truths will come. Some of you carry within you the assembled codes of your original soul matrix. Some of you evolved beyond the need of the host matrix families. And that's what we've evolved past these host matrix families. The people around us, we've evolved because, we can see the matrix for what it is. Okay? So again, evolved beyond the need of the host matrix families. Because long ago, you were gifted with the silicate matrix. There are those among you now who carry the crystal gene. They are on the accelerated path of evolution, and knowingly or unknowingly will lead your species to freedom. They are the star seeds. Are you one of them? Okay, now let's continue. The members of your species that were not imbued with the gift of the Zionites, who do not carry the silicate matrix within their junk DNA and soul matrix codes, are known as the earth seeds. Though all of your species originated from the 12 tribes of the Turanosium subprototype, not all of you were selected for the Zionite experiments and resulting accelerated genetic strain. We're going to stop it right there. Does this not make sense? You can see the earth seeds. We all are human, but some have certain kinds of DNA strands and some do not. Some are awakened here at the end, some are not. Even though they push that with the whole Catholic Church, we're all equal, we're all the same, we all have the equal opportunities. No, we don't. We have not had the equal opportunities in your society. What makes you think you're going to have equal opportunity in the Most High's society? You see? Talks about each source produces what's like itself. Let me go there real quick. You can only produce what you come from. Okay? Go there, my notes real quick. This is a much deeper lesson. You start getting into this other information and it starts to bring things together. Each source produces what is like itself. That's why it says in Matthew 7:16, you shall know them by their fruits. Good fruit, bad fruit. Let's go there real quick. So I'm starting to think like with the scriptures, it gives you information and understanding. It's giving you basic understanding, but later on the Most High is going to give us more understanding. I'm going to break it down for us even more. 7. Let's see here. Matthew 7, we'll start at 16. Ye shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. Every tree that bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. Wherefore, by their fruits ye shall know them. So true. And that's what you're seeing right here. That's even talking about right now, between earth seeds and star seeds. Earth seeds cannot break down our scriptures. Earth seeds cannot break down prophecy. If you go to the Coptic Apocalypse of Peter, okay, the Coptic Apocalypse of Peter, page 79 of, okay, it says, for evil cannot produce good fruit, for each source produces what is like itself. For not every soul comes from truth, nor from immortality. And that's so true. For not every soul comes from truth. nor from immortality. If you go to the treatise on the resurrection, page 209, says, we are elected to salvation and redemption, since we are predestined from the beginning not to fall into the foolishness of those who are without knowledge, but we shall enter into the wisdom of those who have known the truth. It's huge. Again, that's the treatise on the resurrection, page 209. We are elected to salvation and redemption, since we are predestined from the beginning not to fall into the foolishness of those who are without knowledge. See, the ones who are without knowledge have set traps. And these traps will keep you ignorant. They make it convenient to stay ignorant. You see what I'm saying? They make it easy to stay ignorant and not study and not chase after the Most High. That's what they do. But if you're predestined, to go back to the Most High, you'll be predestined from the beginning not to fall into the foolishness of those who are without knowledge. But we shall enter into the wisdom of those who have known the truth. Most High is giving wisdom to certain people, and you will follow those people because you will be led to them. So it's absolutely amazing. In the letter of Barnabas, page 226, says, things are clear to us, but they are obscure to them. They haven't heard the voice of God. If they haven't heard the voice of the Most High, they're going to follow him. They're going to follow Satan. They're going to follow ignorance. Okay, like I said, it's not a choice. Ecclesiastes 1:15, that which is crooked can't be made straight. If something has been set up to be crooked, it will stay crooked. There's nothing it can do about it because that's the way it was made. Okay? Like I said, so you're starting to see how all this is all set up. This is why the whole world is set up to follow this madness of the other nations. Some of these are coming from the Lost Scriptures book. That's where these are coming from right now, okay? The Lost Scriptures book. Let's see. From the Gospel of Thomas, page 23 in the Lost Scriptures book. A good man brings forth good from his storehouse. An evil man brings forth evil things from his evil storehouse. Okay? Again, earth seeds, star seeds. This is why it's so important to really take a good look at who you're listening to. That person should always say, hey, this is my opinion, but you need to search a matter out for yourself. I've always told people, search a matter out for yourself. So in John 8:44, it talks about, ye are of your father the devil, and the less of your father ye will do. Again, earth seeds, star seeds, different, coming from different fathers, coming from different gene pools. Okay? Ecclesiasticus, or Sirach 12:3. There can be no good of him that is always occupied in evil. Give to the godly man, and help not a sinner. So again, there can no good come of him that is always occupied in evil. Give to the godly man, and help not a sinner. And this is so true. From the gospel of peace. See, now you're going to start to see why these books have been hidden. Oh, we don't accept those. We don't accept those books. Yeah, I got it. I know why you don't accept them either. This is from the Gospel of Truth, page 47. I'm almost positive this is from the Lost Scriptures book, but if it's not there, it'll probably be in the Nag Hammadi. Okay? Gospel of Truth, page 47. They will hearken to their root and be concerned in concerns which they find their Root. Their root. Genetic makeups. I said all that is all part of this. Whatever their root is, if they don't have the correct root, they don't have that connection with the Most High, I said they're not going to get it. They're going to be the ones that are always telling you, no, we don't accept that book. No, we don't want to hear this. No, we don't want to hear that. You're crazy. If I can't, explain it, prove that to me. Prove that to me. But when you ask them to prove things, you get nothing but crickets. All praise to the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. Shalom, family.